So, I was sitting here thinking, man, and I was going through some videos here on YouTube, and I come to realize that, I mean, I start to realize that it's not that competitive in other countries for women. Like out here in the West, it's highly, highly competitive. It's more competitive than it has ever been in American history. Dating in America has become impossible. You know, where every single man is trying to get laid, there's only so much to go around, you know. And as time goes by, dating in America will only continue to get worse, and it's gonna get worse and then worse and more worse. I don't know how bad it's gonna be in the next 5 years, but I can imagine how bad it's gonna be. I can only imagine. I don't know how bad, but I can only imagine how bad it's gonna be in the future. You know, in the next 5 years. So, but what I come to realize and what I notice is that I said this before, man, that dating in other countries is not as competitive as it is here in the West. Now I'm looking at some of these like small time channels, beautiful women, bro, and they just single as hell, bro. You know, like older men are able to get young women with ease. Dudes in their 60s are able to get 21, 22-year olds with ease. And it wouldn't happen here in the West, man, because it's just that competitive, man. Like 60-year-old men would not be able to get 21-year-old women here in the West with ease unless he was a big time celebrity. You see what I'm saying? And you know, it's gotten that bad here in the West to the point where yeah, it affects me, you know, the average guy, you know, and it is affecting guys who are slightly above average, you know, the guys who are sixes and sevens, right? Or the sevens and eights or whatever you consider average. But I noticed that women in other countries, it's not that competitive for them. And part of the reasons why is because you got to take care of their family, right? You got to send money to their family. That's one of the reasons why it's not that competitive. And another reason why they don't really, they don't really worship women in other countries. Basically, in other countries, they got their boot on the women's neck, right? There's a lack of opportunities for women in other countries. So women are forced to do what? Depend on a man's dollar. It's still old school, you know, over there in other countries. They do it like the US did it about 40 years ago, before feminism got strong, here in the States or here in the West, Western countries altogether, where feminism got really, really strong. These other countries are staying the same. They're like, no, we don't want feminism, especially in the Asian countries. We don't want feminism in our country the way you Western guys got it. We see how bad women get when they get a whole lot of like freedom and high paying jobs and stuff like that. They start being picky with us. Basically the West basically threw men up under the bus. Basically, that's what they really did, man. Um, you know, men are traveling in droves to these other countries where they can get easier access to women, where you know it's not so competitive for women's attention. And I'm looking at this couple, you know, in the Philippines, tall white dude, short Filipina. Now this Filipina, she's definitely like around a 7 in looks, maybe a 8 on a good day. Maybe she put on some makeup or something like that. But fresh out of the south, fresh out of the look, came with talk, fresh out of the shower, she's about a 7, okay, and she's beautiful. She's nice looking, 7 or 8, right? She's with this 60-year-old dude, right? And I looked at her, I was like, yeah, that in the West, it would be highly competitive for her right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? She's 21. She hasn't approached the wall yet, right? In the West, that would not kick off. That whole entire relationship would not kick off. That's how you know it's not that competitive for women. When a 60-year-old dude can get a 20-year-old woman or a 21-year-old woman and marry her too, not just, you know, girlfriend material or, you know, fling or pump and dump or whatever. It's like he could marry her and take her and be with her. You see what I'm saying? And you know, so men are leaving to other countries where dating is a lot easier. They're branching away from the West because the West who does not care about men anymore. Let's just face it. They just lost all, you know, respect and care for men, even though we built the country and we did all these good things and you know, we contribute a lot. Nine, we contribute at least 100%, you know, to the country. You see what I'm saying? And they treat us like trash out here in the West. So men are going where they're appreciated, and men are still appreciated in other countries. You see what I'm saying? Like the Philippines, men are very appreciated still. Thailand, men are still appreciated still. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that competitive for females' attention out there, man. Especially for leftover females. It's leftover females are easy, very easy pickings out there because the men out there, some of these women, they can go a couple of years without sex or any dude trying to get with them after they approach a certain age, like 26, 27, right? And they got a kid. It's pretty much a done deal. When I say a done deal for like these women with children, it's a done deal. Dudes do not get involved with leftover females. These women go months or years without sex or intimacy from men. I'm not lying at all. So when a foreigner come out of nowhere that's probably been dying of thirst, dying of sexual thirst, okay, from the West, then he's so happy to get a beautiful woman on his arm. He just, you know, ignores the fact that she's a single mother and a leftover woman, ignores the fact that, she's past 25. He ignores the fact that, you know, a lot of the men of the land do not want her. So, he said, fuck it, man. I got me a beautiful woman. Doesn't matter. She's a leftover female and it's less competitive for her. So, easy pickings, right? See what I'm saying? You know, it's not that competitive for women out there in other countries because these other countries, they do not put women on the pedestal. Women come last. They got a culture going on out there. It's not like the American culture, bro, where women are put on a pedestal. You see what I'm saying? It's not like it's not like out here in the West where there's tons and tons of simps and Captain Sailor hoes everywhere. Nah, it's not. That's what happens to like a lot of these foreign women in other countries that they don't have Captain Sailor hoes and manginas kicking in the door if they get pregnant by like Chad or I mean like an Asian Chad or something or a Brazilian Chad. They don't got these Captain Saver hoes with S's on their chest to come to their rescue after they get knocked up. So that's why a lot of these women they start checking for foreigners when they come into the country. You see what I'm saying? When foreigners come into the country, they start checking for them because the foreigners are a little bit more forgiving about them being a leftover woman. But the men of the land, they're not forgiving. And like I said, man, um, it's tradition that the man that she gets with in the Philippines, a Filipino or Thai woman, or you know what I'm saying, it's tradition that the man take care of the whole entire family with whatever resources that he has. You know, like you get with a female, you might be paying her mom or dad or her family like $50 to $100 a month or something. You send her some money, you know what I'm saying? Just like David Campbell was saying, he said that he sends his mother-in-law like $50 a month. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, sending money to the family is a big priority, and it's part of the culture out there in the Philippines and in Thailand. So a lot of these guys they run away from that. The men of the land or the land, yeah, the men of the land, the Thai men, the Filipino men, they run away from that crap. I mean, think about it. If you had to like send money to your girlfriend's parents or your wife's parents every single month, like you would that would kind of like hurt your pockets if you were a man that lived there. But as a foreigner, a 50 month look, I can't even talk. $50 to $100 a month, that ain't nothing but a bill, right? It's just like a phone bill. So and you pay it and it's over, right? It's like a bill. But to them, 50 to 100 bucks a month, that's a lot of money. So I could see them skating out on a lot of these women out there or not even trying to get involved with females who are single mothers. You see what I'm saying? And not only that, that there's plenty of women to go around. I can't even mention that enough. It's plenty of women to go around. So it's not that competitive. You see what I'm saying? When there's plenty of women to go around, when there's plenty of women to go around, it's not going to be that competitive. When the women outnumber the men 20 to 1, it's not going to be that competitive. If anything, the women are competing for you. It's competitive for them. Dating is more, it's the opposite out there. You see, I told you America's like a glass, man. You keep like putting water into it, it's going to fill up. It's like, you know, if if you keep pouring men into the country, it's gonna fill up. It don't matter how big the land is. You know, if you keep pouring men into the country, immigrants, and you know, not enough wars and stuff like that, man. Eventually, it's gonna get full through time, right? You see what I'm saying? Uh, so that's what happens, man. And when your country has too many men, it causes the it causes things like the passport movement. You see what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but a reaction. The passport movement ain't nothing but a reaction from American society, right? The overload of men in the country, the simping and the you know and the lack of women to go around for every single man out here. It's not, you know, it, it's it's just highly competitive when there's a lot of men to compete with. You see what I'm saying? So when you go to other countries, right, where the women outnumber the men, then it becomes less competitive, right? Because every single man got about 4 or 5 women that he dealing with, so he's not gonna be extra thirsty. You know, he's not gonna be stealing girlfriends and stuff. He's not gonna be sleeping with somebody's wife and stuff like that, man. You know, I was looking at a video the other day about this one Filipino guy. He man, he had about like 2 girlfriends and a wife. Okay, you know, he was out there doing his thing, bro. And the men out there, they're not faithful to their wives and girlfriends because there's so many women to go around. So many women. You know what I'm saying? And then a foreigner come out of nowhere and he's just so happy to get a beautiful woman. He's so happy to get a beautiful woman that he's gonna be more likely to be faithful. And think about it, man. Like you spent your whole entire life chasing beautiful women and you never got them in the West. You just probably got like average women or below. Well, when you get over to like Thailand and you finally land a beautiful woman, you're gonna be way more appreciative than a lot of the men out there in those countries who's used to those women, right? You're gonna be more faithful. You're gonna be, you're gonna be happy that you finally landed that female that's an 8 in looks, right? So I don't need nothing else. I got me a beautiful woman right here. I ain't got nothing. I don't need nothing else. I'm good. I'm real good. You see what I'm saying? Versus those guys out there that live out there, they can care less because they go through so many women. It's like, and they're used to having beautiful women, so they neglect it. You see what I'm saying? So they don't really care too much, but you care, and you cherish having a beautiful woman in your arm or uh on your side or whatever, or by your side or on your arm, shit, right? So when there's plenty of food to go around, there's no fighting. I noticed the other day I was watching like a animal show where they were feeding the lions, right? Now they were throwing the big pieces of meat over the fence. There were about like 30 lions, okay, male lions, and I'm using this analogy because it kind of reminds me of these other countries where there's plenty of women to go around and no fighting. Uh, they were throwing the uh, the meat over the fence. And there were no fighting with the lions. The lions, they were growling and stuff, man, but they wasn't fighting each other because they knew what? They knew more meat was coming over that fence. So every time they threw meat over the fence, one lion get it, and he'll run over to the corner, and he'll be munching on it, and they'll throw another meat over they throw another meat over the fence, and another lion will get it, and he would run over to the corner. So they kept throwing meat over the fence until all the lions had one or two, right? But there was no fighting. You see what I'm saying? All the lions had a big ass piece of meat in front of them, enough to knock off their hunger or to get them full. But I noticed that there was no fighting amongst the lions because everybody was eating good. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like over there in other countries where all the men are fucking full and there's no fighting amongst each other. There's no simping. There's no, you know what I'm saying? It's not highly competitive. There's no stealing from each other and shit like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Versus here in the West where there's not enough meat to go around. So it's going to be a lot of fighting and bickering, arguing, a lot of violence. You see what I'm saying? Imagine if like they only threw like one piece of meat over the fence for all them 30 lions out there. It would be hell with those lions, okay? It would be it would be hell. They would fight each other, rip each other to shreds for this fat one meat. You see what I'm saying? They would steal. They would steal from that lion. Try to rip his fucking like rip fur off of him. You know what I'm saying? You know, but since all the lions were fed, there was no growling, there was no fighting, not a single paw swipe, nothing. They were just chewing down on their meat. You see what I'm saying? Even when as the meat was coming over the fence, there was some growling, but there wasn't no fighting. You see what I'm saying? Because they knew that all of the lions was gonna get a piece of that meat. You see what I'm saying? And you notice that in these countries, there's no mass shootings or nothing going on. You see what I'm saying? These dudes out there are having a blast. There's plenty of women to go around. Nobody's coming up short. Every single man, he's a certified male. He is getting his dick sucked. He's getting his dick sucked and fucked all the time. So there's less violence when that is going on in their society, when all the men are taken care of sexually and not being ignored and looked down upon like they do here in the West. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that competitive in other countries because of the number of women out there and, you know, the financial thing with the women where you got to pay, their parents, send them money every month or something like that, which is not a whole lot. You do what you can afford. That's how you look at it. You can afford $50 a month. Okay, send them $50 a month. That's only $50. Can you afford $100 a month? Well, go send them $100 a month. It depend on your financial situation. If you could send them like $300 a month, send them $300 a month. Shit, we'll do whatever you can afford, right, to help the family out. You see what I'm saying? And another thing, man, and I say this all the time, it's like nobody's flocking to like Thailand for a better life, but everybody's flocking to America. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's flocking to the Philippines for a better life. Nobody there's not like a horde of men coming into the Philippines. I mean, actually, there's a lot of foreigners coming in, but it's not like America, you know what I'm saying, where like immigrants are coming in by the millions. Like I checked the immigration um, numbers in Thailand. How many immigrants are in Thailand, right? So there's 71 million people living in Thailand, and there's only 3 million people. There's only 3 million foreigners. I mean, there's only 3 million foreigners living in Thailand out of 71 million people. So we're on foreigners, a very small population in Thailand. So the men of the land, he don't have, they don't have to worry about us. You see what I'm saying? We're not a threat because we're a very small population in Thailand and in the Philippines. Very small population. I mean, it's growing. You know what I'm saying? But I doubt that it'll overflow like America because they're not giving away jobs to foreigners. That's another thing, man. It's very hard to live long term in these countries. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm not worried about these countries being overran by immigrants or dudes from the UK or something like that because it's very hard to stay out there without a job. They're not giving away jobs out there. They're not letting you work out there. They're not letting you take jobs away from other Filipinos and Thai people. They're not, you know what I'm saying? You got to either have your own business or you got to have some type of pension to live out there long term. Now, you could visit, but live out there long term, you better be a rich man or you better have a business or something going on out there. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, what I was saying about the women out there, why it's not so competitive, is because number one, there's, like I said, man, there's a whole lot of women to go around for every single man out there. Number two, you got to pay the family. A lot of like the local dudes, they probably don't want to do that, but a foreigner, yeah, a foreigner would do it because he could afford it. You see what I'm saying? So some of the beautiful women, you be thinking like, damn, it's not competitive for her. She's fucking gorgeous. She's fine. Yeah, man. No man is checking for her. Another thing, one more other thing before I get out of here, the dark skinned women. Okay, the dark skinned Thai women, it's not competitive for them at all because they're not digging the dark skin out there. A lot of them dark skinned women, they fucking single as hell out there and they beautiful too. Another thing too, in the Philippines, same thing. The dark skin, they're not digging the dark skin. They're not digging the curly hair. Cause some of the Filipino women are dark skinned. They got curly hair. A lot of the men of the land, they're not feeling that. They don't like the dark skin. They don't like the dark hair. So them women don't hardly get touched. They up for grabs. You see what I'm saying? Out here, dark skin, light skin, it don't matter. It's highly competitive for all women in America. Dark skin, light skin, medium skin, all kinds of skin, all kinds of competitive too. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so they're not digging the dark skinned girls, and that's one thing I'm coming out there for. I don't like the very light skinned women with no melanin. I'm coming out there for the dark skinned Thai girls with big booties and stuff, with a little bit of weight, and another thing, they're not digging the thick women out there, man, with the big butts and stuff. Those women are up for grabs too. So you see, it's not that competitive in those countries for those women that we want. You see what I'm saying? So, and another thing, we won't be stepping on their toes because our standards are not that high. When we come out there, we see the average Thai woman to them will be average, and we be like, yeah, we got a beautiful woman. But in reality, the men don't want to have nothing to do with her. They beautiful to us, right? But to them, nah, they're not feeling the dark skinned women, bro. You see what I'm saying? So those women are up for grabs, and that way you ain't stepping on their toes of what they consider is beautiful, right? and they're not stepping on yours. So everybody's happy. They're into them super thin women with the light skin. You got a different, definition of beauty. Thick, big butt. You see what I'm saying? 140 pounds, right? Five, five, or 5'4", whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're not digging that. You come and swoop that up. So when they look at you, they were like, "Oh well, we're not interested in her anyway." But damn, in the West, she would be, com- man, she would be smoking hot, right? So anyway, you guys have a good night, man. I want to drop that quick video because I was just thinking about that because I was going through some videos, just seeing how beautiful these women in these other countries are, and I was thinking about how it is out there and how it's not so competitive for them out there, and I'm like, God damn. But I see the reasons why. Why it's not that competitive for women out there in those other countries. You guys have a good night. Peace out, take care, and bless. I'm out.